I'm Gary Hess, News Radio WRVA, the voice of Virginia.
James River, sunrise in the city glowing. RVA waking and the day starts rolling. Brush your teeth, lace your boots, let's move. WRVA's got your morning groove. Wake up rich and win the day. Don't spend your morning playing catch up. Richmond's morning news, we're here with you. 6 a.m., let's start it up.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, 6:04 to be exact. It is Thursday, July 9th, the year of our Lord 2026. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. We've got a very busy morning for you here on News Radio WRVA. Super Dave Ayler behind the glass. Good morning. Gary Hess, good morning to you. Let's get right to Richmond's morning news brief, folks. Boy, there is a lot to cover this morning and not much time. We've got an action-packed show for you today. All right, let's start. Biggest story of the morning. It's not just a slogan. It's the truth. If you wake up with Richmond's morning news, you're going to know what's going on before everybody else. We work hard on this show to make sure we bring you breaking news and analysis you'll hear first before everybody else. We work to get it first. We work to get it right. Now, if you listen to our show on Tuesday, well, we're doing our Capitol Square Insider. We have Tom Garrett, member of the House of Delegates. He came on and pointed something out. And you heard it here first. The Virginia marijuana laws are now up in limbo. The Virginia marijuana laws are now up in limbo, and the rest of the Commonwealth, the rest of the country is just beginning to see what we were talking about on Tuesday. That's the first story of the morning here on Richmond's Morning News.
Number one.
Welcome to Virginia. Richmond dreams in Sacramento style. We got pot shops coming, lawyers funded, and a budget stacked a country mile. Welcome to Virginia, California, where the fine print gets ignored. Pass the budget so we can see what's in it. Isn't that what government's for?
All right. I've been warning everybody, please do not CA my VA. Apparently, the General Assembly didn't get that one, and they didn't see the memo. They didn't listen to the show. See, again, either you listen to Richmond's Morning News or you're playing catch-up, and that's certainly what it looks like our General Assembly has done. So here's what's going on. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, Tim Anderson, member of the House of Delegates, put out a video, and it clearly explains. We will now have, thanks to this budget, thanks to Don Scott, Louise Lucas, and Abigail Spanberger, retail marijuana stores that will go into effect in 2027. In order to get there, you have to change the state's marijuana laws. And that's what this budget did. How in the world this budget has anything to do with the enforcement of drug laws in the Commonwealth of Virginia is beyond me. But we'll save that for another day. What we've found out is, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in order to have those pot shops legal, you got to wipe away the laws that are on the books. And that's exactly what they did. The laws in the books would conflict with the retail marijuana marketplace the governor signed off on. So you got to get rid of those old laws in order to get the new retail marijuana shops up and running. The problem is the July 1st budget wiped away all of those marijuana laws. Again, I don't know how you do it through the budgetary process. Somebody can explain it to me. That's what they did in this budget. But the new laws don't take place until 2027 when the retail marijuana establishments go into effect. So right now, we have, it looks like, 365 days of complete ambiguity. Virginia State Police reportedly have said, hey, I just don't know what to do. Commonwealth's attorneys are saying, I don't even know what the law is right now. We'll just leave them alone. Basically, the Commonwealth of Virginia has no enforceable laws that will stand up in court. Commonwealth's attorneys aren't sure what to do. Law enforcement isn't sure what to do because we gutted our marijuana laws to open up the retail pot shops, but we left a gap. It's either a clerical error where somebody didn't say, 2026, 2027. 2026, we get rid of the marijuana laws. 2027, we start the new marijuana laws. Nobody figured out that's 1 year, 12 months, 365 days in limbo. So right now, who knows? Sources are telling me that the Virginia State Police are saying if you catch someone with marijuana that's over 5 pounds, see if the DEA wants them, because we're not even sure what we're supposed to do with them. We'll have more on this story, and we're chasing this. But again, if you listen to Richmond's Morning News, every morning you're on top of this. We talked about this 2 days ago. You're going to see this blow up in the next 36 hours. I guarantee it. That's our first big story of the morning. Story number 2. The U.S. and Iran, 90 targets hit last night by the U.S. Navy and forces in the Middle East. And the president says the ceasefire is over. Here's the latest from Fox News.
Number 2.
We've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
All right, so here's what's going on. Donald Trump says we're not going back into full-blown war, but the ceasefire is over. These are very complicated negotiations. We talked about this yesterday. Transactional negotiations with this regime doesn't work because they are dead enders. It is a theocracy. They're not looking for anything other than the establishment of their caliphate that will take over the rest of the world. So how do you negotiate with people that just don't share your point of view? The president's leaving negotiations open right now, but frustration. And I think inside the administration, you have J.D. Vance, who's advanced this idea of negotiations. In fact, he led a lot of this. He doesn't want to see full-blown war, boots in the ground. Nobody does. Now, on Marco Rubio's side, he's standing there as the Secretary of State. What is he pursuing? What is his thoughts on where we go? I think the president right now is going to give diplomacy and J.D. Vance's ideas as much credence and let them go as hard as they can until they get to the point where Iran continues to just be Iran. And we're at that point right now. That's why the missiles are being shot back towards Iran. 90 targets hit last night. We'll see how they respond today. That's our second big story of the day. Story number 3. This goes back to the Virginia budget. They didn't get done in time. The Richmond School Board is asking for more money.
Number 3.
All right. This goes back to our first story of the day as well. Do you remember when Nancy Pelosi said, well, you've got to pass the bill to see what's in it? Well, apparently you got to pass this budget to see what's in it. I know what's in it, and I know what's not in it. For the Richmond School Board, Richmond Public Schools, we're seeing how poor leadership at the top of the food chain has, direct, real consequences for you and me and our kids. So basically, here's what's going on. We waited so long, and you heard us hammering away at this. Why is this budget process taking so long? And you waited till the last possible moment. Now everybody's screaming, oh, this is great. We're not having government shutdown. We did our jobs. Yay! What we didn't know is that school districts were waiting for this budget so they could figure out what their budgets are going to be. Now, the Richmond School Board overestimated by, they thought they were going to get $20 million more from the state. They only got 11. So now they're $9 million short. So there's a couple things right here. For the Richmond Public Schools, if you assume something, you know what's going to happen. You assumed you were going to get $20 million. Nobody guaranteed you that. That's some mismanagement on your side. And as far as the state goes, our school district's screaming they need more money. I don't know. Maybe you could have found more money for them if you hadn't have given temporary Obamacare subsidies to people that were supposed to get them only temporarily. Remember, we took hundreds of millions of dollars out of this state budget to give to people that got a temporary Obamacare subsidy. You decide you're going to make it permanent because we're going to stick it to Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe your school district would have enough money if you hadn't put away hundreds of millions of dollars into a slush fund to fight Donald Trump in Capitol Square. A lot of money in this budget could have gone to the schools. Remember, that's why you wanted all this extra money to pay for schools, because that's what we want to do for the kids. But it turns out it wasn't enough. But you found enough money to have a slush fund to fight Donald Trump, and to give Obamacare subsidies that were supposed to be temporary. We extend them beyond the COVID pandemic. Great job, Capitol Square. Great job. All right, get to story number 3. Graham Plattner.
1 minute.
Should I keep saying his name? All right, let's get to Graham Plattner. That's our 4th story of the day.
Number 4.
In a video posted to X, Plattner again denied sexual assault allegations against him, saying he'll continue advocating for the issues that fueled his campaign. And he pushed back on reports that he somehow wants to handpick his successor. Plattner's exit follows demands from more than 40 Democratic leaders, including Bernie Sanders, that he leave the race. Now the scramble begins, and Democrats don't have a lot of time. The main Democratic Party is preparing to choose a new nominee and has already announced plans for a nominating convention with former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson and several other Democrats weighing bids.
All right, here's the bottom line. Just like with Joe Biden, when he ran for president, the Democrats were all for him. Hey, this is our guy. Joe's running circles around everybody, according to Karine Jean-Pierre. And then we found out he wasn't. How do we find out he wasn't? Because he plummeted in the polls so bad, they figured out, I don't think he can win. So then let's get rid of him. And instead of letting the people decide or even honoring who the people voted for in the primary, they handpicked Harris. Actually, Biden handpicked Harris and made her the candidate for president of the United States. Same thing's going on here with Graham Plattner. I don't even need to attack his character anymore. Everybody else has done that. But here's the thing you need to know. The Democrats all stood in line. They knew what was going on. They knew about the Nazi tattoo. They knew about everything he had done, but they stood by him when they thought he could win. And then Fox News came out with the poll, said that there's no way he could beat Susan Collins in Maine. And guess what happens? They all pulled back, just like with Joe Biden. You know what really forced Joe Biden out of the race? When the money dried up, when the Democratic donors stopped donating money and withheld their fundraisers and stopped hosting fundraisers for him. That's when he knew he had to drop out. Plattner, same thing. So for the party that screams threat to democracy, no oligarchy, get rid of the billionaires. The billionaires are the ones that just said no to Graham Plattner. Anyway, that's Richmond's morning news brief. All right, we've got a lot to get to. We got to remind everybody the Virginia War Memorial tomorrow. They're retrieving the flags from the Hill of Heroes. I'll give you details on that coming up here on Richmond's morning news. Today's program is brought to you in part